Hi, everyone. Let's enter the realm of descriptive statistics. How can we efficiently and effectively summarize and organize data or compare data from two or more populations? Well, two ways to do that in lesson 4, frequency and relative frequency tables. How many or how often? Okay, so let's say that we go back to the president's ages example. The 45 ages for the 45 presidents when they became president. Well, right now I see a mess of numbers. Okay, I see a 57, a 61, a couple more 57s, a 58, down to the 47 and the 70 over here. So this mess of 45 ages, it's a mess. So how can you make heads or tails of this? Is there a way of depicting this using a table or a graph that will make this prettier, more sensible, where we can get a better sense of the distribution of ages? We're going to construct a frequency table for the president's ages. And this table will describe the frequency distribution of the ages. We're going to organize the ages into 8 classes of the same size. Sometimes people use formulas to figure out how many classes would be appropriate, but usually it's subjective. The frequency of each age class is the number of presidential ages that lie within that class. So for example, we could pick these age classes. Remember, 35 years old is the constitutional minimum to become president. So the youngest age class we could say is from 35 years old to 39 years old. The second age class could be from 40 years old to 44 years old, basically the low 40s. The next age class could be from 45 to 49 years old, basically the high 40s, and so on. Low 50s, high 50s, low 60s, high 60s, low 70s. That's Donald Trump over here. If Joe Biden wins in November 2020, then we're going to need another age class for Joe Biden. Your age classes should cover everyone in the population. If Joe Biden wins, we need another class for the high 70s. All right, so the frequency table consists of these classes, in this case, the age classes in years old, and this frequency column over here. It turns out that none of the presidents became president in their high 30s. Pete Buttigieg came close. 2 presidents were in their low 40s, Teddy Roosevelt and John Kennedy. I'll go over to the table here. Teddy Roosevelt was 42 years old. John F. Kennedy was 43 years old. So they made up the low 40s. 7 presidents in the high 40s, including Bill Clinton and Barack Obama, and so forth. Now, I'll go ahead and give you the frequency column over here in a homework problem. I'm not going to have you work out the tallies because you might ask yourself, well, how can I figure out the frequencies? Well, here's one way you could do it. So we have this ugly table over here, right? Well, let's say we wanted to ask how many presidents became president in the high 30s. Well, I don't see any 30s in here at all in the age columns, so that's a 0 there. Presidents in the low 40s. Okay, well, again, we see Teddy Roosevelt here. We put a tally mark there. John Kennedy over here. Tally mark over here. That's 2. Now, if you get a group of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, the slash represents the 5th in that group of 5. So for the 7 and the high 40s, we have this group of 5 over here and then 2 more over here. Now, actually, in practice, the way that you'd actually do it, the way that you'd write the tally marks, you would go through in order probably, right? So we start with George Washington. We see 57 years old. So we put a tally mark in the high 50s row. Then we have John Adams, 61. Put a tally mark in the low 60s. Thomas Jefferson, for that matter, James Madison, James Monroe, John Quincy Adams, so the next four were in their high 50s. So 2, 3, 4, and then 5 already. Okay. Andrew Jackson was 61. So tally mark over here. So then you go through, right? And then by the time you get to the end, Donald Trump, okay, then your tally sheet, your tally column should look like this over here. And then for each age class, you count the number of tally marks to get the corresponding frequencies. Again, in this class, I would consider that to be a very tedious exercise. I'm not going to have you count tally marks in this class. Okay. But if you had to do it all from scratch, that's how you could do it. So you write down the tally marks and then count the tally marks to get the corresponding frequencies. So here we have the frequency table with the age classes in years old and the frequencies, corresponding frequencies. The frequencies here add up to 45, which here is capital N, the population size. There were 45 presidents, so these better add up to 45. That's a good check to make sure that you didn't miss anybody. All right, next we're going to talk about relative frequency tables and a bit of terminology.